Is there any other modern military operation that compares to what the U.S. just did in Venezuela?
It was an incredible moment, and I think we're all reeling from it. It's very surreal as well as pretty grotesque because of the justification for the raid and the capture of Maduro and his wife. The only modern similar operation that comes to mind is the overthrow of General Manuel Noriega in 1989. He was shown handcuffed, something like Maduro, and being boarded onto an American military plane. He was flown to the United States, where he was ultimately convicted of a series of crimes, including drug trafficking, which, again, based on informants and so on, was never, I would say, incontrovertibly proven. He was a despotic figure. He ended up spending nearly 30 years in jail. So that's the only precedent for this, other than the overthrow and eventual capture of Saddam Hussein. I would draw a parallel, and it's that those two operations, which were within a year of one another, not the eventual capture of Saddam Hussein, but the first Gulf War, in which he was humbled but allowed to stay in office. Interesting, right? So you leave the regime in place. In that case, they left Saddam in place and eventually, 13 years later, overthrew him and saw him hanged. Those two operations, which were 35 years ago, roughly, came just as the Cold War was ending. We didn't fully know it at the time, but the Berlin Wall had come down. Soon the Soviet Union would crumble. And George H.W. Bush took those two military actions to effectively rein in American proxies, American Frankensteins from the Cold War. I've always thought of them as also messaging by that White House to the world that was emerging from the breakup of the Soviet Union and the Cold War, to signal America is still here, it has military power, it can do war.